India awardee. She is the MD and CEO of Kalorex Group, which runs 75 plus institutions across the country. A Rajkumari from Surangi royal family of Orissa, she has influenced the lives of more than 140,000 plus students over past decades across 75 institutions. And also there is a good news, this year CBSE and the world topper is from MAM schools. A round of applause for that, everybody. Yes, it has to be a grandeur celebration. It's the grandeur news, I have to say. Further, Dr. Shroff is a regular speaker at the United Nations Summit on Education and Climate Change. I am so thrilled to welcome her.
रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है क्या? रिकॉर्ड कर लेना इसको। रिकॉर्ड कर रहा हूँ। आगे 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 नहीं आया आगे तो गया बोल थोड़ा इसको नहीं अरे इधर उधर तो करना पड़ता है ना कैसे वो हिल जाती है वो बांध लेना टेप लगा देना टेप लेकर आता हूँ ना सेट करा यहाँ सेट
If you are a stakeholder of the education fraternity, we urge you to act now. We bring to you many offerings. It's important that you begin today and now. 1. Give children the tools they need to thrive emotionally and socially. Our Luca Steps deck is designed to help kids build self-awareness, resilience, and empathy. 2. Join our transformative parent community network, PCN, and discover the tools, insights, and community support. Take the first step because your child's future starts with you. 3. Be AI ready to make smarter, more informed parenting decisions. Download our AI-powered Maya AI Parenting Steps app today and unlock personalized insights, expert tips, and real-time guidance. Please join us in our journey to create resilient and empathetic students who will be better prepared to thrive in an increasingly VUCA world where human race and AI will intermingle and coexist. Thank you.
Wow, I think before I welcome her, a round of applause first of all. One thing after watching the video and reading about you, ma'am, one thing you know so wisely that if we can work on the foundation of the kids, we can work in the internal world, then the outcome would be so good. So thank you for being here. Round of applause for the wonderful lady herself. And thank you for this wonderful session you are here for. And also may I request our next, I have to...
Good morning, everyone. Doesn't matter. You'll wake up in the next 10 minutes, I promise you that. So, he referred to a book that was written on me, where it talks about the struggles that I went through in my early childhood. And he asked the question, why did I not turn to drugs? I did not turn to drugs because there was no social media, and I did not know that depression and suicide and trauma are such fashionable words. I did not know that. So I struggled and grew emotionally strong. Today, at the drop of a hat, your students and my students talk about mental trauma. Your students are doing self-harm. I got a case where a girl had cut herself with a blade 140 times. And it was not even visible because she would hide it within the clothes. The areas that were not exposed, she would cut herself. That is how fragile children are today. Today, children think talking about suicide and talking about trauma is fashionable. There is a narrative in society. If children come to good schools, they're sorted. So far from the truth. I don't think teachers are sitting and sorting children emotionally. Teachers are busy completing their curriculum. And therefore, we have to talk to parents. If we have to create a future generation that will sustain both emotionally, physically, socially, psychologically, academically, cognitively, spiritually, we need to partner with parents, and therefore the book.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. You've been attending a lot of United Nations summits across the world. You have been fed. I think the latest one was Kenya, and Brazil before that. So you've met a lot of policy makers, and all of them very appreciated your books, which ranges from parenting topics to teenage addiction, nonsense issues, romance and intimacy, such kind. I would like to particularly bring your attention to the first book, wherein you're speaking in great detail about issues like fear. Even Bhagavad Gita in chapter 16.1 has very categorically said fear is a very strong deterrent to growth and success in a human's life. Why is it so, and how do you wish to cater to fear in children's mind and schools?
So he talked about the fact that I go internationally and sort of create awareness for education or represent India in terms of education. I'm going to share with you very briefly an experience that I had in Switzerland. Switzerland conducts the WEF, the World Economic Forum. And I was wondering, what on earth am I going to do there? I'm an educationist, that too part of school education. And here the world leaders talk about creating economic policies in the world. And I had a panel discussion which was post-lunch. So my organizers had said, if you're an author, please carry your books. And this book had just released, so I was carrying Safety Steps. And it's like this. So we had distributed the books, displayed the books on the tables. And just post-lunch, before I went on to talk, I sort of wanted to, like I'm showing you, I wanted to show the crowd the book. So I went to one of the tables and I wanted to pick up a book and come and show it. And to my utter surprise, I did not find a single book available on the table. This is World Economic Forum, where nobody knows the M of Manjula Shroff. If it was India, some people may even Google me. So the first thing, I was like, hey, what happened here? And so I finished my talk, and at the end of my talk, a lady was waiting for me outside. And she said, there is this place called Future House, where they're talking exactly what you're saying. So Davos is a 5-day experience. And for 5 days, every session they were talking about the fragility of mental health of the students. And of course, when I went there, it was completely sold. And then I said, I'm the author of this book, and they gave me a complete 5-day pass. This is not unique to India. This is a world problem. It begins very early in life, and therefore this book, when we wrote this book, to my utter surprise, became a bestseller. Not because I'm a great author, ladies and gentlemen, I am not. This book is a documentary. It is a documented consolidation of case studies that my teachers and my counselors have seen over 30 years of our experience. The names are changed for confidentiality, but every case written here is real and true. And because you know that education is age-specific, it's written about what topics you should talk to children from preschool, what topics you should discuss during primary school. And in those two, and of course teenage and all of that, but he referred to fear. The early parts of children are filled with fear. And unless adults learn to address this concern, the child is not growing into full potential. This book refers to some 32 kinds of fears and how you through activity-based method you can deal with it. So fear of darkness, fear of animals, fear of insects, fear of strangers, fear of world events, fear of wardrobes, fear of getting lost, fear of anxiety, fear of falling, fear of disappointing parents, fear of teacher, fear of being rejected by friends, which goes right up to teenagers You know, teenagers are so susceptible to rejection and romance that they take to revenge because we have not taught children young how to deal with negative emotions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shroff. The second book of yours, which I think request you keep in your hand, I love it. This, ladies and gentlemen, is an eye-opener in itself.
Truth bomb.
The truth bomb. Okay, that's what she calls it. So she discusses topics in it so conveniently and comfortably, which we as adults find very difficult to talk to our own kids about, right? Topics like sexting, sextortion, pornography, digital addiction, and many such kind, right? Which is the truth of today, of youngsters, the Gen Z, the millennials, and everybody. And of course, we don't know what will happen to the Gen Alpha hereafter. So, ma'am, if you can kindly, go and elaborate us on certain pointers which has been mentioned here, like catfishing, grooming issues, real versus real. Why are these so-called issues, and how does the school tackle such issues? How does the parent tackle such issues?
So, ladies and gentlemen, for the next 2.5 or 3 minutes, let's talk sex. Let's totally talk sex. Because whether you talk about it or not, your children are indulging in sex. And the online platforms make it so easy, so accessible for children to indulge in watching pornography, in dating, in intimacy, in sexting, and actually being part of cyber sex. Let me also tell you that where you are seated, I was seated 2 years ago before I started to research and write this book. I had no clue what is happening in children's lives. So he mentioned a bunch of vocabulary, taboo topics, which let me walk you through an example. The first one I'm talking about is the word called catfishing. Catfishing essentially is like fishing. Have you heard the term catfishing? Yesterday I was talking to children of grade 12 in a Delhi school. I said, how many of you have heard the term catfishing? 80%. We don't know. We don't know our children's world. If there is a digital divide, it is in the classroom. So catfishing refers to this process where the predator, on the online world, it's not just all good people. There are people who are there to harm. How many of you, it's an English word, have heard the word pedophile? Thank you. For those who haven't heard the word pedophile, it is an adult who is sexually interested in young children. Gender no barrier, it's not about girls. Even boys can fall prey to pedophiles. So what is happening online is these pedophiles are catfishing for vulnerable children. And they can approach your children through gaming sites, through social media, and it's all fake, right? The children don't know who they're talking to. They could be talking to a 50-year-old man sitting in Arizona. But his DP is young. He's talking the lingo, which you don't understand. They understand the lingo even. So there is a process of grooming that happens, where the predator will befriend your children. And in that process, earn trust. And when that happens, children share the deepest fears, the deepest secrets. Because anyways, we are not adults. Adults are not available for children to talk to. Nobody listens to our children, right? So then what happens, this whole process of grooming is over, and sometimes children share explicit material. A predator can say, why don't you share a picture of you in a Nike? Why don't you share a picture of you in a bikini? Why can't you share a picture of you in a halter? And children will share. And then we go on to this whole thing called sextortion, blackmailing, where the stranger will ask the children to meet online, and there's a survey that says, statistically, that 66% of strangers who ask children to meet them, children meet. And that is the danger. So that's one part of the fear. And we will take a little bit of break, okay? Because I want to explain how online sex happens.
Okay, right. We all are on Instagram. We have 2 minutes. I'll request the
My last
organizers
task,
to-
my
2 more
last-
minutes we need, please.
I'll take the last question.
Yeah. So anybody on Instagram here? Everybody will go Instagram. Yeah? Instagram users, Instagram, and users. How many of you here know what is, you know Insta? You know Finsta? That's the father, Finsta. Any of you here? Finsta? Like your ma'am, Finsta? That's for sister, Finsta. And then the last is Rinsta. R for a loop, Rinsta. Now, these are all real stuff. Children do it on a regular basis. They can fall prey to all of this stuff. Ma'am, what are they? What are the harms?
I'm going to connect it to the sex talk again, okay? So, like he's already said, everybody is an Insta. तो आपको ये तो पता है, in order to create an Insta ID, आपको एक real email ID चाहिए, जहाँ पे कि आपकी OTP verifications वगैरह आएंगे, correct? Now, without fail, almost 90% of children have what we call fake IDs, जिसको हम Finsta बोलते हैं. Then there is a secret ID जो उनकी dark web में है. Now you may not even know all this, but children are very, very familiar with the online world. So what happens is, unfortunately, children believe fake ID में वो लोग safe हैं, जबकि नहीं हैं, because fake ID तो real ID से बनी है ना. So if there is a FIR, if there is a cyber crime, under section IPC 356C, in this country, texting is a criminal offense. जब हम फोन देते हैं, जब पेरेंट्स फोन देते हैं, ये सिखाना भूल जाते हैं that even if you send a picture that is nude and somebody complains, 6 months of jail. That is the risk your children run. So if you are a true diligent educator, there are 2-3 things you have to tell your parents. Educate your parents to delay the use of social media as far as possible. Because apart from the dangers online, the brain development is getting impacted. Today, preschoolers are exhibiting digital addiction symptoms. The neural connectivity in the brain is not happening. We're calling it digital dementia. So your first thing you have to tell parents, restrict screen time to less than 1 hour. The WHO has given a mandate that 0 to 2 years, no screen time. So parents को आप बोलिएगा to restrict screen time, 2, delay the use of social media as far as possible. And 3, to discuss openly taboo topics. ये एक myth है जो आप सोचते हैं कि बच्चे को हम क्यों करप्ट करें, सेक्स के बारे में क्यों बात करें. अरे आपके नहीं कहने से वो नहीं बंद कर देंगे करना. ऑनलाइन डार्क वेब में एंड जो फेक आईडीज में इतना न्यूडिटी चल रहा है, मैं आपको बता नहीं सकती. इतना पोर्नोग्राफी चल रहा है, मैं आई कैन नॉट इवन टेल यू. सो डोंट स्टे इन दिस मिथ कि आप बताएंगे तो वो सीखेंगे. वो जानते हैं, आप तो थियरी बताओगे, वो प्रैक्टिकल पास कर लेंगे. आप 40 मार्क दो ना, 40 on 40 they'll get, 440 they will get. So please start to talk to your children about taboo topics.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, when we presented these 2 books to the HRD Secretary and to the CBSE Secretary, they were so happy receiving the books and they immediately advised us to convert these books into a single curriculum for students under the socio-emotional learning subject. So we have come out with these books called as the VUCA books, right? The volatile, uncertain, complex and ambiguous state that we live in. We call it the VUCA books, the VUCA steps. So it's converted already in the form of curriculum and we are piloting class 7 complementary for all schools in this country. So you can take these books, it's a 28 session concept where it will train your teachers also on these books. You can have it taken from us. We have our representatives here. You can give your names. We can give you the teacher trainings. We can give you the books complimentary for each and every child in the class. And we can take this curriculum directly into school. And also, if you want us to have a similar kind of a session with your parents, we are available. That's again complimentary. You can call us. We'll be more than happy to address your parents too. This is our responsibility to make this country great again and make India a Vishwaguru back into education. With this, the books, both these books, Baby Steps and Safeties, ma'am has been kind enough to get a few copies. They are available on the first table. Ma'am is also here to sign the books. Please come, collect your copies and make use of it. Only one small request, make your teachers read along with the children line by line. It will really help you. If you want to search us more, log on to www.shroffism and you'll find our website or you'll find a link to these books. You can go and pick up the books from there also. Thank you very much.